Mr. Mayor, a 2-acre retention pond seems quite small for the, where's the overflow going to go? If you're going to maintain this lake at a certain level, and it's going to be a lake year-round, and you've only got 2 acres we're dealing with here, where's the overflow going to go? Where will it exit? Will it go to Cane Run Creek?
Well, right now, you understand, quite a bit of water is already going to Cane Run. We've got a 96-inch pipe that's feeding into Cane Run right now. So part of when we're separating the sewer water before it gets to that lake, a lot of that's going to have already been separated. Jorge? Not trying to deflect your answer, but I really think you'd rather have an engineer answer that question.
And we've got a lot of,
They're going to need you over here.
yeah, we engineers, we sell pictures, so we want to point at a picture. But I'm Jorge Lance, I'm with Jacoby Toombs Lance Engineers, and actually I've been a consultant engineer in Jeffersonville for as I can remember. But to answer your question, what we're doing two things. There's and I know that this isn't real clear, but in the drainage area that feeds the 96-inch pipe that goes underneath the interstate and then on through Clarksville and discharges into the Cane Run ponding area, we have already separated about 55 acres of combined sewers where we're putting in, we're finalizing those projects now, where we're going to collect that stormwater and hold it in this 2-acre pond. So that's how we've sized that pond to work kind of as a muffler, if you will, to hold back the amount of water that we're going to put out the 96 towards Clarksville. That's one part of it. The second part and most important part is that Jeffersonville's treatment plant right now discharges down into Cane Run at a peak flow of what, Lynn, about 25 million gallons per day, you know, during heavy periods of storm. Not only that, but as Len mentioned, the 10th Street pump station, we are more than tripling the pumping capacity of that pump station. So what that translates into is instead of the pump station overflowing at a much earlier stage and going out the 96 towards Clarksville, we're going to pump it into the wastewater treatment plant, treat the water, and then we're actually going to put it out. We've got a new discharge point that goes to Mill Creek. And I know that that's also, you know, your concern. We've looked at some of the hydraulics of how that's going to affect. And when you look at the total area that drains into Mill Creek, I mean, it's 2 to 5% in a real heavy storm what the additional discharge would be to that creek, which if you look at it in the cross section, and we're still have to do further analysis, it probably amounts to half an inch of water over that creek.
Mill Creek was out of its banks just this morning.
Right, we understand that. We understand that. There is also, I know that the flood control district has commissioned an engineer to design 2 new flood control pump stations, one at Cane Run and one at Mill Creek. I don't know how that project's going to be funded. I don't know what the status of that is. I understand that there's meetings coming up, but especially in the Cane Run ponding area, that ponding area greatly affects the 96 and the drainage that comes from Jeffersonville and through Clarksville. If a pump station there with more capacity is designed that can lower the headwater of that retention pond down there, I know that it floods one particular person, one garage. If that is accomplished, then that pipe can flow freely, and it's really going to help the entire area's drainage capabilities.
What is the timeline for this park? Is it going to be going on while the CSO is going on, and what's the cost for it?
Well, I think it's going to come towards the end of this. I mean, there's certainly some cleanup work that's going to need to be done, but you know, some of this other work is going to be working its way back towards that. So, what are you, Lynn?
About $1 million, I would expect. And the city's going to do a lot of the work itself.
This is something we've got the employees to handle the biggest portion of the construction of this work. But as far as the time frame on the park being completed, is it going to be towards the?
We can do it whenever we want, because we're already separating. We've already separated 7th and Ohio. We're separating 8th and Ohio. In fact, the majority of the separation has already been done. It's just no place for that water that we get out of there, the stormwater, to go, and we need to. We can start construction whenever we want.
So when is that? I mean, do you have a time?
Well, we're a little bit at the mercy of the weather. I mean, we're at the end of January right now. I mean, I'm looking at these projects as one projects, but they are, they are two separate projects, but they're trying to reach a goal. I'd like to get started, if we can get started on this spring, I'd love to get started on it this spring. If weather permits and we can get started on it next month, let's do it next month. I don't have control over the weather, and I know things are a lot tougher, as we've seen from the Vissing Park. It's, we're at the mercy of good weather.
So do you hope to have it done by, how long will it take, by the end of this year, or is there any time frame at all?
About a year.
Yeah, we want to start this summer.
The experts say within a year.
How much larger is this retention pond compared to the one that was involved in the last plan? Because I know there was that 9th Street Park.
It's similar.
It's about similar in size?
How much money have we already spent acquiring properties where the canal was going to go and plating those properties and what's going to happen?
That's where the properties we've purchased, those are gonna be used for the route to bring the interceptor from Market to the 10th Street pump station. So that land is gonna serve the same purpose. It may not have a canal on it right now. There's gonna be a pipe that goes from Market Street to Mulberry, or from Market Street to 10th Street through that same right-of-way.
So we'll have an easement right down through the middle of town? How wide will the easement be?
We haven't got to that level of detail on the design, but you figure it's size for an 8 by 12, isn't that right, Jorge? So the pipe, well, it's not going to be a pipe, it's going to be a box, 8 by 12, going from Market to 10th Street.
Is there going to be nothing on top of that land?
Well,
No.
it's up to the city to decide what they want to do with that land.
But
It's
you
the
can't
city
build on
land.
top of an easement.
Well, it depends on what you build on. You're not going to build a structure on top of a pipe, no, but you can build ponds, you can build whatever you want.
Correct.
You can even build a canal next to it if you so choose. So it's not going to go to waste. We're going to use that land to get it from point A to point B. But I'll tell you, Market Street's going to be a mess for a good long time, from Graham Street to Mulberry, because you got to put a big pipe in the ground over there as well.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Everybody keeps on talking about the EPA mandate and everything. I have not once been able to find or get somebody to show me this EPA mandate. And you're talking about that what you want to do meets the EPA mandate. Have you already talked to them and showed them your plans and they've okayed it, or what is going on with that?
All of these meet the EPA demands. I mean, this is, they have asked us to separate the stormwater overflows. We have to get to that point.
I might, just as a separate, my name's Keith Bryant, I'm with United Consulting, and we do a lot of CSO long-term control planning across the state, several cities, several communities. The mandate originates from the Clean Water Act, and there's 105 to 108 communities in this state that are in fact mandated to mitigate CSOs over the next 15 to 20 years. IDEM administers it as well as EPA, sometimes together, sometimes separately. But as far as the City of Jeffersonville directs, you have a consent decree that is a public recorded document in the court that actually documents your mandate. The LTCP, the Long-Term Control Plan, was submitted to IDEM. They have approved it. Lynn referenced the approval letter. And again, this project isn't anything new that the mayor's brought up here. That's part of the approved project. So
where can we find this?
I believe it's on our website, but also if you just go to Google and type Jeffersonville consent decree, it's the first search item that comes up. Jeffersonville consent decree.
Yeah, it's if you Google it, you'll find it.
And the other thing, when you're doing that, you might want to get the complaint that the federal government lodged against the city of Jeffersonville in federal court.
Yeah.
That led to
Well,
the
that's what I'm
consent decree.
talking